Hi guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the Hiya Toys Judge Dredd Exquisite Mini Klegg Mercenary. Stick around and we're going to go through it. Okay, so here is the Klegg Mercenary Judge Dredd Exquisite Mini by Hiya Toys. And as you can see here, I did pick up 3 of them. I had the idea of army building this guy and possibly getting 2 more. You can see he comes with an extra pair of hands, a rifle, a figure stand, and 2 connecting pieces to connect the figure stand to other stands. This figure is pretty good. I'm fairly happy with it, especially for the price. I got this guy for 25 bucks off the Hiya Toys store on Amazon. So it came with free shipping because I have Prime. And I think he was worth it. He's got a great paint job. He does have very good articulation. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. He's a beefy figure. He's a lot of plastic. He's quite heavy. Most of it's in this top piece, his chest there, because the jetpack it's not removable, but it helps him balance. I think that's why they did that. Now the paint job on him is really nice. It is exquisite, just like they say. It's got a lot of shading in the creases and folds of his outfit. The metal looks like it's got a nice dry brush. Even the weapon has a really nice dry brush over it. He does hold the weapon in either hand. It's a sticking point for me though, because he can't really hold the weapon up to aim it, to shoot it. He can kind of just hold it in either hand. This figure does have double jointed elbows and knees. He's got a nice swivel ankle, but it's a little bit hindered by the boot cut on his cuff on the ankle. His jaw does articulate. He's got a nice ab crunch, but you can't get much out of it because of how beefy he is. It does swivel though. I think this figure would have really benefited from butterfly joints in the shoulders though, so he could hold the gun up a little bit better rather than the drop down hips. But the drop down hips do allow him to sit, which he can sit, but he does look kind of silly. You know, an alligator sitting down with legs, it is kind of silly in itself. I think just like the Judge Dredd figure, Hiya's a bit limited to what they can do with this because they're trying to stay true to the comic book design, and this is, you know, comic book accurate from what I've seen. But the design of it, he's a big beefy guy. You know, he's a walking, talking alligator. So this is what you get. I always thought that his uniform looks more like an underwater suit, like a scuba diving kind of suit from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea if he had a bubble around his head. But overall, I like the figure. It's great sculpt on it, the detailing on his head, on his face, the teeth, his hands. It's a good looking figure. I'm going to show you it a little bit closer up now. Okay, so now you can see all the texture on his head there, on his face, all those teeth, that tongue. I hope you can see the shading on the jetpack and the uniform, his hands, the nails, the claws. He's got a great profile. He's quite heavy, like I said. The rivets on his suit go around. Some red on the jetpack there. Yeah, he's pretty good. He's a pretty good figure. Like I said, for $25, I do think he's worth it. I just don't know if I'll get any more. I don't know if I'll need any more than the 3 that I've got. But I would recommend him, especially if you're a Judge Dredd fan or if you just want a crazy looking alien. Okay, so here he is holding his rifle in his right hand. And you can see I had to kind of weave his thumb through the trigger guard there. And that's really the only way he can hold it. This is where I think he would have really benefited from the butterfly elbows, or excuse me, butterfly shoulders, so he could pull it up a little bit more closer to his face and his eyes so it looks like he can aim it. Because right now he can't. And the other hands, I found that he can hold it better on the other side with the other finger. So let me show you that now. Okay, so here he is holding the gun in the other hand, and his, I guess it'd be his pointer finger, is through the trigger guard, and his thumb is wrapped around the stock of the gun. And this is the other way he can hold it. He really can only hold it these two ways. And again, this is not a shooting pose. And I think Hiya is just limited to the design of this guy from the comic book because he just can't hold it up to his face. He can't hold the gun like he's going to shoot it, except for in that other pose that I've been able to figure out since I've had him. Had him open for about a week now, and so I feel like I can give a fairly good judgment. I think this figure is great, in photos. I hope it's coming through on the video here, how nice he looks, and how much plastic you get. I do think he's worth it, but he's a little limited if you're playing with him, which I like to do. I do like to play with my figures. He can't really do too much because he can't really hold that gun. But that's about it for this guy. I do like him. I would recommend him. I think at $25, he's a good figure. Found him on the Hiya Toys store. I think he's going for a little bit more on a few other websites, maybe up to 30 or 35. But I think at 25, he's a buy. And I think at 3, I'm pretty good. There's a possibility if he dropped in price, if he's on sale, I'd grab another 1 or 2. But I think overall, it's a good job and it's a good figure. You're just not going to get the posability that you would get out of a Fortnite figure or a newer vintage collection figure, or even a different Hiya Toy, brand, a RoboCop or a Predator. But he's still pretty darn good, and I would recommend him. He's going to look well. I believe he's going to look great in the photographs, just because the paint and the detail of the sculpt. But that is my overview of the Klegg Mercenary. Okay, and here is the Klegg Mercenary next to the Hiya Toys Judge Dredd figure. These are the only 2 figures of Hiya Toys Judge Dredd that I have at this moment. They match up really well together. I think you can tell that they're both in the same universe. For $5 more, which the Klegg Mercenary is at 25 and the Judge Dredd at 20, I do think he's a good deal. You get a lot more plastic. He's a much heavier figure. So it is, he's more of a deluxe figure, I guess I could say. And the Judge Dredd being like your standard edition. They're nice. They're both nice. I do like them both. I think they go well in any kind of sci-fi universe you're building. And I think I like the Klegg Mercenary because of how unique he is a little bit more than the Judge Dredd, actually. So take that for what it's worth. But I think they look great together. Okay, here's the Klegg Mercenary next to a couple of World of Halo Jazzware figures. And you can see that he matches up pretty well with them. Just about the same height. Both of those Jazzware figures, they've got those kind of chicken legs, so they can get a little bit taller, but this is where they stand best on their own. So when they're in this crouch position, or this at attention position, I'll call it, they are right about the same height. Maybe this guy's a little bit taller with the tip of his helmet, but they are nowhere near the girth and the weight of the plastic of this Klegg Mercenary. Okay, so here is the Mercenary Klegg next to a couple McFarlane Avatar Colonel Miles figures, and you can see they both clock in right about 4 inches. Again though, the Klegg Mercenary is a lot more plastic. He's a lot heavier, but these are both $25. I think if you find the Miles figure in your Target or Walmart, he's $25, and this Klegg Mercenary is also $25. But they both come with they're quite different, but the same price. They both come with a lot of accessories. I like them both very much. This is more a size comparison rather than a value for money comparison. But just to give you economy of scale. Okay, and here you've got a couple of Joy Toy figures. There's a Tau Fire Team soldier on the right and a Battle for the Stars figure on your left. And you can see the Klegg is much taller than the Tau figure, and he's right about the same size as the Battle for the Stars figure, and he does have his helmet piece probably keeps him a little bit taller, or just about the same. And finally, we've got a couple of Star Wars Vintage Collection figures by Hasbro here. We've got the Cassian Andor and the Obi-Wan figure. And you can see those are closer to 3.75, and the Hiya Toys Klegg is more of a true 118 at least 4 inches.